Can you fix the boob tube up top?
Welcome to Community Cuts Live from Brooklyn, New York. Here with our guests and our hosts, Donnatella. Kick it off.
So that is not how the show starts. So I don't know why you're changing things now. What happened to our theme music? Fix the camera. We can't see ourselves. We're not okay because I don't know what's going on. This is and this is what happens in a live show, right? Mm-hmm. It's the BTS in your face.
The cameraman.
So we are super excited.
There we go.
I don't know why you're not speaking, Duke. You don't have a microphone. What happened to our theme music that we danced in the beginning?
We'll get it again.
All right. It is May 22nd. Welcome to the Community Cuts
Welcome
BK.
to Community Cuts.
And today, regular scheduled greatness would be Rickie James and myself, Donnatella C of MyHungryWorld. And I am super excited. We have an elected to be official who is running for District 57, Samantha Johnson. Everybody clap your hands, clap your hands. All right. Welcome to Community Cuts.
Thank you, Donnatella. Thank you, Rickie. It's an honor to be here. There's so much great things. Being in this seat is so amazing. Thank you.
Oh, I like that. Please pass that on.
I will.
No, to get started, right? I think we'd like to turn the microphone over, let you introduce yourself to our viewers. Right now, we are streaming live on YouTube, Community Cuts BK. You guys remember to subscribe. Also, newly created is an Instagram for Community Cuts BK. And our content, we love to collaborate with you. Also on my platform of MyHungryWorld. And Rickie James just doesn't have enough time for you all, so he doesn't have any social media. Take it away. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you once again, Rickie and Donnatella, and just Community for having me here. My name is Samantha Johnson. I am a candidate for Assembly District AD57, which encompasses Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, Crown Heights, and a little bit of Bed-Stuy. I am a 20-year plus person who's lived in Fort Greene. I'm a NYCHA resident. I have been rooted in community since I got here. My family is very engaged, has been engaged throughout New York as well as in Brooklyn. And so I'm a diehard organizer. I've been doing grassroots organizing since 2013 around the murder of Mike Brown and also Trayvon Martin, and been doing a lot of work with the closing of jails with the Close Rikers campaign, and trying to maintain what community safety looks like and what housing development looks like, and also equitable community safety looks like. And so my work is really about what can we do to make our community safe? How do we do this within relationship with the community, not just above them, right? Having real conversations and not just saying what we need to have because they told you to. But most importantly, like what voices are being ignored. And so as a NYCHA resident, I've seen many times individuals talk about us, but they don't talk to us or with us. They tell us great things in a bubble, and then when they get in office, they don't do what they're supposed to do. So this is an opportunity for people in the district of the 57 to have a choice, to have an opportunity to see people who are on the ground, who are consistent in doing this work, not because of a title, but really because of their love and community. So it's an honor once again to be here.
And I feel like I need to stop and give an applause for those who have never seen you before, individuals, constituents within your district. I think that was a great introduction. And for the surrounding areas, we just want to take a moment to say this is an election year, right? Ma'am. So early voting starts June 13th through the 21st, but you can't even take advantage of early voting if you're not registered. So right now it's May 22nd. You need to check your registration, check your polling site. And this year, more than ever, right? Same thing I said during the last presidential race, but 85 million people did not listen, right? This year, you have to get out and vote. So I want you to make this voting opportunity within our demographic area, treat it like you treats, Sunday church, your favorite brunch, your favorite day party, your favorite fete, your favorite restaurant, gather friends, family, register, and go out together. And with that said, I would like to take a risk. You know, Rickie James has some really good questions, and our guests have to be on their toes. Thinking of District 57, Rickie.
My district.
Yes. So this is near
So
and dear
much,
to your heart.
so much.
But
Safety.
safety. But we want to direct this to Samantha Johnson, and remember, this is a friendly
Yes.
room.
Well,
and tell her
she
one
did
of your.
state that she was running on the platform of safety.
Mhm.
I kind of think that some of the issues of safety are not being met in Clinton Hills.
Okay.
Construction and the deduction of what you can do, actually construct, and what you actually cannot do. There is people who live in Clinton Hills that do not carry their own homes as they're supposed to. They put shelters out. Say things can fall off the shelter and damage a person's life.
Okay.
What are we to do with them? Or we did hold a meeting with the Clinton Hills Society of Clinton Hills and explain to them that we're here to help them.
And before you answer the question, just a little bit of clarity, because last week on the show we were talking about shelters in terms of facilities where people are, and my understanding, this is more of a construction type shelter.
The scaffolding that they fall off wall climb.
So, Samantha Johnson, what would you say? Not necessarily your opinion about that, or what safety ideas do you have to make Clinton Hills a safer place as it pertains to this type of this construction?
Yeah, so I'm very familiar of the scaffolding legislation. I believe that the previous mayor had proposed to try to take down as many scaffolding by making sure that the buildings are up to code. There have been a lot of code violations from some of these buildings, and also thinking about if they're a Michelama, a co-op, that there's a big cost to try to ensure that the scaffolding is taken down in a timely manner, but also the repairs are done where it doesn't put so much overhead on the board if they have that. So there are many different perspectives and entry points that people have not really dove into. They just said, well, the scaffolding needs to be taken down and you don't have to pay the price. So we have to be more intentional about when these construction efforts are being made, to ensure that those who are actually leading the construction get the proper funding, so that is done in a timely manner. And then also the Department of Buildings is held accountable for making sure that they're doing the proper assessments to approve the scaffolding being done. So there are ways that we can push our city council a bit more to ensure that those laws are not being kind of skirted around. And thank you for mentioning that the Society of Clinton Hill is also asking to support. I think a lot of buildings don't get that conversation to say, hey, we're in this together, because what's eyesore to you is a danger to another. And how are we working together to ensure that we are keeping the quality of life for all residents, but also the appearance that we are not just leaving buildings decrepit, and hence why we end up having some developers who come and say, oh, well, they're not paying no attention to that home, therefore let me try to occupy that and then do more damage to our community and the thread of how our community operations are. So I do think there is a much needed analysis on the back end of how to support those who are in those financial ruins, hence why those scaffoldings may not go down. So that's one opinion that I've experienced.
They're going to the carriage houses on the other side of Waverly. They're reconstructing, refigurating, and redesigning those houses into a part of the house that is before them on the other side of Vanderbilt. These things are dangerous. You can't walk by, and you can't get around. Once you get around, you're in the street. So it is something that really ticks me off. It ticks me off.
And I'm sorry to cut you.
I think it's just a community conversation about how do we work together to make these things happen, and supporting those who are going to be doing these renovations. And I believe those renovations even have to go in front of the community board.
Yeah.
So being more transparent about like the time frame with land use or with the board as a whole. So those approvals can be done and making sure that people not just saying it to say it, that they're actually being held accountable for it.
And I apologize for interrupting. I want to try and reposition your mic because I believe the producer is saying the mic is a little bit low.
It's a little low.
Okay,
so I can scoot up.
Well, I know you're perfectly sitting with your legs crossed.
That's
right.
That's good.
And there you go. Is that better?
Much better.
Okay.
All right.
Because you're saying some really profound things to your constituents who will be voting, and I want to make sure that they capture every word.
Awesome.
And so we're trying something a little different on this episode. Normally we just speak like we're in our living room, and sometimes we don't get to tackle those objectives that someone like you who's running for office needs to hit. So that was a question around safety.
Right.
And I know your platform has multiple topics, right? Yes. And so for me, I would like to hear about another one of the topics that are near and dear to your heart for your district. And I'll let you choose which topic that is.
Well, everyone who knows me is always a tie between NYCHA and affordable housing, as well as like economic development and youth development, right? So my experience as a NYCHA resident over 20 years, and I also used to run Ingersoll Community Center in downtown Brooklyn. That was really an experience to see young people really thrive and find resources and have a continuation of love. That was something that even now I have young people who see me on the street and like, Miss Samantha, I'm about to have my first kid or I'm getting married, you know? And I'm like, when did you get a beard? You know, like those are the things that I'm very passionate about. But I will talk about NYCHA because I think once again, it is always a topic that people talk about, but then they look at the budget or they look at the ruins or they look at an apartment and they realize that they've said some things that they have no idea or in relationship to. Right. So when I talk about NYCHA, I am also talking about accountability about where the spending goes. Many people are talking about mold and lead, and I had the fortunate chance to work for Congresswoman Nydia Velasquez for 2.5 years, and I got a chance to see the federal side of what NYCHA is and dive into HUD, which we can go into that all day, but I know that we are cramped for time. But just the requirements of where HUD has a threshold of responsibilities that trickles down to the city as well as the state. And when we're talking about affordability, NYCHA literally is the one thing that is low income, right? It is the one thing that everyone discards when they like, oh, you from NYCHA. But affordable housing really is what we have, right? It's the last piece of land, which is currently under attack. So I love to talk about the experience of being a NYCHA resident, but I also know that these experiences have accountability measures to our elected officials. And when we're talking about like RAD and PAC, those conversions that have happened that has really seemed really great, and it came from a federal level, and now it's trickled down to the state level to approve a conversion and actually privatization for our residents. And we don't understand the complexities of a new management coming in, taking over what we thought was our home. And then 2.5 seconds later, you're being displaced like everyone else, or you're being requested to be market rate. So, which means that we're now going to be at odds with those who are already overpopulated in our communities. And we don't have enough space as it is to find real low income affordable housing, and development is at its highest peak, even though folk are saying that there is a housing shortage. So I would love to talk about that in a little bit more layer. And then like youth development, as a former community center director, I've always tried to give opportunities to my young people of all types of identities, individuals with disabilities, and individuals who have multiple different life experiences from being either at Rikers and returning home. And how does that overlay into making sure that they don't return to those institutions of harm, but they also come into being a benefit to our community and being the entrepreneurs and the wonderful human beings that I know that I can see past the imagery of what society says into what they really can be.
I think that's really awesome. I want to go back just for a moment. There are quite a few times that we have brilliant guests like yourself on the show, and having a technical background, we speak in acronyms. And sometimes people on the outside are wowed by what we said, but then they're on ChatGPT or they're on Google trying to figure out. And you reference I think RAC and PAC.
RAD and PAC.
RAD and PAC.
So RAD, and forgive me if I don't know the acronym, but basically RAD and PACT. These are two programs that were federally funded to assist NYCHA in being able to obtain enough funding to cut down the costs and the overhead that NYCHA has accumulated, right? NYCHA has billions of dollars in debt, and the city has tried in so many ways, and then the state has been a little neglectful, I will say, and really targeting the main things that NYCHA residents need. And so this conversion happened, I believe, in early 2020s, where I think Senator Salazar picked up the legislation to approve for these two programs to be active. And now we're seeing 6 years later that with these programs in place, which is basically a building gets so-called renovated.
Right.
Those individuals will be replaced or displaced for a little while, and then supposedly returned back to these places with a more modernized unit. And those modernized units would come to, a standard stainless steel a washing machine, or a new light fixture, or fresh paint that doesn't have lead in it, right? So you're putting folk who are not experiencing these things before, giving them a model that has been standardized by within the United States as the perfect unit that a person should be in. But then you have a new management company that comes in and could possibly displace that individual based on their behavior, or someone that comes to visit, those standards. But the other part that we need to think about in these conversions is that NYCHA currently is Section 9, which means that those protections under New York City Housing Authority are way more solid. When a person gets converted to a RAD or PAC conversion, they are decreased to Section 8. Which means it's more of a voucher-based program. It's more loosely able to navigate what a person's rights and abilities to navigate NYCHA, what housing would be, and you're more at risk of being displaced.
Right.
So with this,
can I ask a
go
question?
ahead.
And when you say displaced, because I am seeing the viral content that talks about the places that are being renovated, displaced is in evicted.
Correct. So
I just want to be clear for our viewers.
Yeah. So NYCHA residents would not have a real opportunity to pick the management company that they want.
Right.
We're hearing organizations, and I don't want to drop names, but there's organizations that have been really harmful.
Yes.
We've seen the most recent fight in Chelsea houses, where they're trying their best and have successfully won. Shout out to the tenant organizers there, has successfully won against the narrative that this is a better place, and that these organizations and these LLCs are going to do such more of a phenomenal job than NYCHA could ever do, and have actually found themselves with the same lead, the same old broken elevators, and actually a higher cost of repairs, asbestos, right? And higher costs of repairs, and charging folks just to get a light bulb fixed or a doorknob fixed, because they're more up in technology. And so if you have a person who's on fixed income, and you have a person who's now converted into this unit, and NYCHA is still charging you 30% based on whatever your income would be, and now you have a tax on all these new things, you're going to have some financial strain.
Especially if you're on a fixed income, or given the way the administration or the world is now, we have increased pricing due to those tariffs, people who are underemployed, people who are also employed but intimidated or afraid to go into work because of those entities that are literally grabbing people off of the street.
In addition to that, federal regulation, most recently, I believe last year, passed a bill by the name of HOMTA, I think it's HOMTA, where if an individual who lives in public housing, or PHAs, public housing authorities, would be making more than $140,000. Now, it may sound like a lot, but give me a second, I'll break it down.
Right.
If a person in a family unit makes more than $140,000, that they no longer will be considered a public housing authority resident. They'll be now low market rate, and they cannot return back to NYCHA in the same way. And say, for instance, Duke and I are out here making $70,000 a piece, and I get a little overtime. Then if I do that consistently for 3 years, I no longer will be able to be that. So we have that federal regulation. We have RAT and PAT conversions. And then also, if people are trying to have families from another country come and live with them, there's also an adjustment of their rent based on the fact that they can't qualify a person being employed. So there's a lot of factors that are under attack for public housing residents, and the fight continues. But most importantly, you need legislators who are going to be able to know these things, dive deep into it, and push back. There is some legislation talking about a social housing authority. I am not in favor of that, because I do know that NYCHA is something we need to save. And when we create new authorities that have never been done before,
right,
we're falling into a risk where we're just picking and choosing, and we're messing up people's lives by some chance that you may not know what you're doing.
Right.
So, yeah.
and there's no case study, and I'm sorry, Mom, that was a double negative.
They ain't none.
Right? Sorry. But in all seriousness, I do want to ask Rickie a quick question. Rickie, I know Mother Nature has been kicking us around. It's really hot, now it's cool. And inside our lovely studio, it's a little warm with these bright, expensive lights that Duke has. Do you need any water, friend?
No, I'm good. I'm just coughing from just
Uh-oh.
coughing.
This
From
pollen
eating
is a
something.
mess.
Well, and I like how you came in with pollen, because I was one of those people that wore a face mask and a glass and the glasses during that time when the world stood still.
Yes.
Which ironically,
I have a question for Samantha.
One second. Ironically, on a side note, when you leave today, I want everyone to go into their phone and look at an image from today, 6 years ago. And the pictures that I see of myself with the multiple masks, because I sat on like different podcasts, encouraging people to get vaccinated. And I got my first vaccination shot in 2020 in April, right when they started being offered. And I went to little Chinatown to get my vaccination, because my mom wouldn't let me in the house for Easter, right? And I just remember everybody being like, why would you go to Chinatown to get a vaccination? Right? And it was in their official Asian science, blah, 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 blah. But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
But I know you were about to say you had a question.
Yes, a question for Samantha.
Which topic? Because she has a bunch she has to hit
on
first.
The same topic of safety.
Well, before we get to safety, we talked about, I want to make sure we hit all of her bullet points.
Right on.
So safety was good. We covered NYCHA.
And
Economic development.
Yep.
Did you have anything else before we divert you somewhere else?
I mean, in regards to economic development, and I'll go a little bit back into a little bit of the housing component, because I want to talk about deed theft and the components of mortgage fraud and the enforcing that needs to be done on the state side to ensure that we are really supporting legacy homeowners and legacy residents. But as far as economic development, I am a member of a local bid in the 57th. I run on a lot of boards. So I totally understand and thank y'all for giving me this space, because everyone's time is very precious. But as a person who has been on the bid in my neighborhood, I am very aware of small businesses from COVID that are still literally struggling, trying to make ends meet, have not increased their prices because they didn't anticipate having no customers, because they used to be booming with customers, and finding themselves in a lot of debt and trying to just catch up from the loans that they didn't get because they didn't properly apply, or not accessible because they didn't really have to do that because other people passed away that managed all of that.
Or the other thing that I just want to say, or the COVID EIDLs that were obtained. And when this new administration came in on March 19th, 2025, immediately cut what was called HAP,
Mhm.
hardship accommodation
Right.
program, and they are strategically causing our Black and brown businesses to close because they're defaulting
Right.
on those loans. And I don't think there is enough
Mhm.
being done for that.
Right.
Right. But please
No, I
continue.
agree. You know, when I was working with the Congresswoman, we found ourselves really trying to support small businesses in a way that we gave them the resources. We
Mhm.
talked about the SBA loans. We talked
Mhm.
about the low interest loans.
Mhm.
And many people were just very intimidated.
Yep.
By saying, I don't have all my tax records properly
Right.
done. I don't know what my EIN number is,
Right.
you know, and so what I would love to do when I'm in Albany is to create a real small business support center within my actual office that we're talking about, like how to really sustain your business once you apply. How do you follow through? What is it that you need to do if you're doing a patent or a trademark?
Mhm.
Why? And working with our federal agencies to ensure that we're in connection, because
Right.
there's so many resources out there. I'm currently working with a young man who is a barbershop owner. Before I left the Congresswoman's office, they gave me the information. I was like, brother, like it's a little too late. But still to this day, I think I got that notification in November, and still to this day, because of our advocacy, I'm able to maintain a conversation with New York City Housing Authority, who owns the land, the Congresswoman's office, who I formerly was employed by, and any other entities with Pace University. They have their small business administration.
Yep, they do. Which is
and
good.
working with them and trying to ensure that he has all his paperwork together and keep it on a strong path. So there's way too many organizations out there that are suffering. And so when you have a person like myself really seeing it and working in it, it is hard to ignore. So yeah.
I would agree, and I'm gonna take a moment. It's not a harmless plug. My small business, after leaving corporate, or corporate left me, depending on who you ask, right? During COVID, it kind of birthed my small business, which I advocate and do all those things. So, and I've had several and still do barber clients. So regardless to the results of your election, I want you to think of My Hungry World as a resource, and I will pour into you what I can do to help that barber as well. Because it is very important, and I'm always being 100% transparent. There is an acronym besides being familiar and getting ready to vote. It's CDFI. These are approved organizations by New York City, New York State. They actually offer free services. A lot of those services are the ones that I charge you for, because I am a for-profit business. I want to be clear. But again, there's so many opportunities, and just an idea for your barber, because in this economy, you have to think outside of the regular tunnel that you're in. A lot of people don't understand, and we'll take a moment just to talk about the MWB, Minority Women Business Enterprise. But a lot of men of color don't know that minority business enterprise is the equivalent for them, right? And so New York State does $3.9 billion a year with small businesses.
Wow.
Period. Just their budget, right? $3.9 billion.
Wow.
And regardless to what you hear in the news, our last mayor, when he left office, everyone knows that, I'm a fan of Eric Adams, but one of the things his administration did prior to any other mayor, when it came to the funds from a MWBE program, all those billions of dollars, less than 5% of that money, historically through all the mayors, actually made it to Black and brown owned businesses. And the type of person who received the majority of funding was white women, right? Because MWBE is not just Black and brown women.
Right.
It's any
Minority.
woman, right?
Any woman,
And a white woman is also a minority, right? And so in that last administration, at the end of the year when they tallied up, it went from less than 5% to 34.5% of that money made it successfully. And oops, that's okay. We can leave it down there. They can't see it. It's off the camera. But the other thing I want to say, because I go to Albany and I advocate on MWBE Advocacy Day. I attend a lot of different things. $28 billion under the last administration made it to Black and brown businesses. And you all can't get $1 of that if you're not minority certified.
Mhm.
So the reason why I bring that up, for that barber that you're talking about, if he's not minority certified with the state, I will do that for him for free.
Wow.
Right? That is my gift to you.
Awesome.
But back to the regularly scheduled program. Because we I'm very familiar with who's in office in District 57. This platform is open to everyone. I will tell you, I do have a love affair with those individuals as well. But I'm listening to you, and I think when a lot of people go to vote, they want to see someone who looks like them, who talks like them, who's experienced what they have, because then it feels real. And before we go on further at this point, I want you to tell our audience how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So my website is SamanthaJohnsonForBK.com. You can do a hashtag SamJ4BK, and you will see all my platforms. I'm also on social media on Instagram. I believe that's SamJ4BK. There's Samantha Johnson or Samantha J4BK on TikTok. I also have a Twitter as well. So you can just look me up. I would love for anyone who's interested to log into the website, inbox me. I literally do respond, even if it's 2:00 in the morning.
Awesome.
I am that person. I get team no sleep. So I am very interactive, and I just want to be able to share my knowledge, right? The reason that I am running is because I am a wealth of information. And no matter what capacity I am, whether this is the assembly or just a community leader, you need more people who are going to reach out to make sure that we are doing real community service and not just talking about it,
Right.
And actually having real relationships and developing a real stability for the future. We are at a precipice right now in our election season where a lot of things are happening and a lot of people are under a lot of thoughts and feelings. But right now, if you know someone who's doing the work, who is effective in doing that work, who is consistent regardless without a title, been doing it before they even ran for office, then you need to find individuals, including like myself, to continuously do this work and hold us accountable to making sure. So those are the ways you can reach out to me. You can inbox us on Instagram, Facebook, as well as on TikTok and Twitter, and also on the website. We're doing, not petitioning, we just finished petitioning, but we are now, and the crunch is 4 weeks.
All right.
Lord, it is 4 weeks before the election, and it would be great to get volunteers, individuals who want to door knock, phone bank, call a friend, find a friend at a bodega, go to train stations and get out some literature. I would love to see some volunteers, and I'm open to just having a conversation, a coffee and chat as well.
Excellent. And for those of you who did not jot down the social media as Samantha was stating it, it will be in the caption. So just go down to the caption, follow, leave a question, and we look forward to that. And I want to take this time. I want to make sure before I let loose my co-host Rickie with his next question.
Yes.
And this may be a tricky answer.
Okay.
Given that you are running for election, there obviously has already been work being done in that same district.
Okay.
Can you, without embarrassing yourself, tell us or the viewers why you believe you are the better candidate?
Right. So as I said a few times, I've been doing this work, 20 plus years of dedicated service to the community. I'm not only just a NYCHA resident, I am an organizer, I'm an activist, I'm an agitator, right? I am a person who did not get picked to do this. I was chosen by the community to do this work. And I really do feel like as people in the 57th are doing much of a needed process of who is going to represent them on all levels and who's going to work with those on all levels, right? We need individuals who are willing to go against the grain to say, I know and I'm ready to fight and risk it all. And so my life experience has been really taking the highest risk for myself and for others to ensure that no matter what, it's going to get done. I follow through. Is before I got here, I'm helping a young lady who is about to give birth. And I was just talking about preparing a plan for her, right? What does a service look like for her children? How are they going to eat? Those are the type of people that you need to have on your corner because they're not thinking about just legislation and scurrying behind legislation, but they're thinking about the wholeness and the wellness of the individual. And so I have done that work. There has been respect to the young lady who is the incumbent, and respectfully, people need another choice. And there needs to be an option to see what is working and what is not, what is being ignored, and what is being highlighted. And I think right now we're in a transition time where people are starting to consider my needs are not being met and I need to have some options. And whatever they decide on June 23rd is totally their decision. But that does not stop my work for the years to come.
That is awesome. There was one topic, and just so you all know, on this platform, we don't supply questions ahead of time. This is actually live. I will tell you, anyone who knows me, I come from a technical training background. So there is maybe 3 minutes of conversation before we go live. This is a friendly platform in that we're not looking for viral moments by embarrassing anyone. But I have a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I'm currently vice president of a tenant association, right? And so when we talk about housing, we spend a lot of time talking about NYCHA. And I'm just curious. I am a domestic violence survivor, right? A DV survivor. A lot of people don't know that. Well, now you do. And one of and this is a statement, and then you can elaborate any way you want.
Sure.
My belief and understanding under the last mayor, before he went out, he enacted a lot of new programs. One was a baby bag program for women who are expecting babies with no housing. If they gave birth in Kings County, they should go directly into a voucher situation, so they're not going back into the shelter with a new baby. There was also a baby bag that's for $300 that new mother could get. I was in a room when he spoke about a program for victims of DV being able to get a voucher for housing without having shelter history. Right. And so I will tell you that it appears that no one on God's green earth, they've heard of the program. No one knows where those details are. And that is something that I'm struggling, because if our viewers were to close their eyes now and say, hey, what does someone look like who is homeless? What does someone look like who is a victim of DV? When you close your eyes, you're not going to see me. And that is the problem. And so just your comment regarding, DV vouchers and city FEP vouchers and FEP vouchers, a whole nother huge realm.
So I guess we're going to be just being comfortable today. So I am also a survivor of domestic violence. I went through a very interesting relationship with an individual, and working. I was, working at the community center, fully employed. I made enough income. And then when the incident happened, I didn't make enough income to the extent of affording legal support. I used the nonprofits, changed my door locks, all of that. But then I proceeded to not follow through because of the fear that I wasn't able to have the legal representation. So I totally get where you're coming from. I believe you're talking about the BASA voucher, which is I think that's the veterans one, but there's a very specific one for domestic violence survivors. And the problem that I saw personally is that there's still a lot of shame and guilt about identifying yourself as a survivor.
Right.
Or even now people just labeling as a survivor. That wasn't the case before.
Right.
They just called you a victim and then they labeled you
and then further victimize
you, right? And tokenize you, right?
Right.
And so there are programs with, I believe there's the Mayor's Actions for Gender-Based Violence in the city that is supposed to help with those things. And of course, HRA is supposed to also provide those, but I say supposed to.
We're gonna use that as another story. Have you back?
Yeah.
But please
no.
proceed.
So I say that to say that there is very limited research to protect those who are survivors, even in their workspaces, even while they are navigating housing structures and the shelters.
Right.
I live around a corner from a women's shelter and a men's shelter. And I find myself where those young ladies, how do we connect, right? How do we even get into talk to a nonprofit to provide services to those families and those women when many of them will come to me and say, my social worker isn't doing the due diligence or that my social worker doesn't know.
Right.
And so how do we educate each other and also do it in a point of safety?
Right.
And
because DV shelters are not, you can't Google it find it because of it being
the compromising of the individual, right?
Yeah. And then I'm gonna say something that I don't want you to say. And then there's the whole avenue of the victims of DV who are in shelters still being victimized by individuals in positions of authority and power. Part of my advocacy is talking to individuals like that and letting them know, hey, this is what the New York Commission on Human Rights is all about. Right. This is what the Family Justice Center is about. This is what reaching out, and I'm speaking about Brooklyn, but be sure that this happens. I want to say all over New York State, but the majority of shelters are not like out in Long Island.
Right.
On our last show, we talked about the 10 shelters that are just in Brooklyn in the Flatbush area. Right. There's not one in Bensonhurst.
And there's a big contention right now happening in Crown Heights.
Yes.
About their recent shelter dynamic as well. Right.
Yeah. So I want to say, like you said earlier, whatever the people choose on June 23rd, for me being here and just on this platform with you, I absolutely love the way you articulate and you deliver yourself. We have had the good fortune of having several people who are running for office. And what I also like about you as a person who looks like me, that I'm looking in the mirror, a woman of color, purpose, is that you have not used this opportunity to say anything negative about the incumbent. You haven't even mentioned the incumbent by name. we've had some individuals on this show, and I get it. And it could be just their passion, but when it comes to leadership, there are those who lead by respect and those who lead out of fear, right? And I can see that you are of the latter, right? You lead out of respect. A great example is look who's sitting in the White House. How does that person lead? So I want to thank you for being on the show, for educating us. This is my first opportunity to get to know you. Rickie, have you enjoyed our guest?
Yes, I have. I have been thinking about Franklin Avenue, the building that they were building over top the Botanical Garden, and your fight there. Even with Mrs. Boyd and the other individuals, all that was said, I was wondering your opinion about what happened there and the respect that you
Rickie loves to call people's names.
Well, I think I'm going to pull my future elected official position title thing. You know, they do this thing called "That's a City Problem," and they say that real quick. That is a city issue. But I will say, I remember that fight. with the previous council member, and even going to like Medgar Evers, and there was a whole
Medgar
dynamic
Evers,
with that. And so I was not necessarily in those spaces, but as an organizer on the other side, I remember that battle. And shout out to MOPP. Listen, she Alicia is the one, because
you two crossed in
we
this
crossed
interview.
because of that organizing
crossed,
and our
yes,
love for
yes.
community and the respect of
You're
like
both powerful women.
what does
I kind
quality of
like
life
that.
look like. And we had the similar fight when we talked about the Fort Greene Park renovations, and that the mines and all of that being paved over. So there is a lot of environmental justice things that are happening in the 57th that a lot of folk are not addressing. And the way that we need to be reaching out, even if we don't agree, right? Like I don't currently agree with the person I'm running against. I have gotten way more slander than I probably ever in my life in the past 6 months than I have since being an organizer and doing the work, and knowing that I've gotten threatened in many capacities by young people just to save their lives.
Right.
I've gotten more slander in this past 6 months to try to minimize my efforts, to try to create a narrative that I am with a billionaire oligarchy, whatever that term could be in this 57. Because billionaire rowing in 57, I'll just say that. So that's not the connections that I have. But out of respect, because I say that if I'm going to reach across the aisle, I still have to work with those people who are going to be in that same category in Albany. And they're going to be those people who are going to look at me with the most snarkiest look or the darts in their eyes. But they have to respect the fact that I'm going to still work with you, even if I don't agree with you. And that's what diplomacy is. And if we're not being diplomatic about the people, because it ain't about me, it's not about that person who's in the seat. It's about the 140-some thousand people who are in the 57th. It's about the 1.6 people who are inside of Brooklyn who are unemployed or finding themselves as a small business. It's about all of that, because when you are a legislator in Albany, you are representing New York.
That's right.
You're representing New York State. My legislation won't just impact Fort Greene, Clinton Hill, Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights. It will be an instrumental legislation that will impact everyone specifically in New York State. And so I thank you, Donnatella, for not giving you that question to say something shady about my opponent. But I do respect work that's being done, and that I do not respect it. But I will never come to the point that that person has to be slandered to do it. It's a learning lesson for all of us. And we know that I've seen the change. If I win or not, I've seen a shift in imagery because of my presence. And so if I can shake it up to where you can be more present, you can serve the people better, you can do what you said you was going to do 5 years ago, 6 years ago, then I still see it as a win.
That was excellent. And so I know it's a Friday night. We've had you for 45 minutes. I don't know if you have to go.
Okay.
If you're cool to
I'm
stay
cool
with
to stay
us.
a little bit longer.
Excellent.
This is like, back in the 80s when we were like BET, the basement,
Right.
It
It is,
or
only there's sparkling water.
Yes, we've upgraded.
And well, did we? Because I didn't see any cups with those bottles.
Well, I guess we got the bottle. We're not passing the bottle.
Put
Just
Duke on the
right.
spot.
And I'm teasing Duke because Duke used to pour sparkling wine during the show.
Did we have in the flutes?
Yeah, yes, we did. And
I love
sometimes we
it.
had
In the
cups.
good crystal.
Yes, yes.
Love it.
But I love this room, but I want to transition. Oh, looks like the producer's raising his hand off camera, and we're gonna look a little crazy because he's gonna speak on the microphone and you're not gonna see him.
Amazing.
Please do. Yes.
Well, I do know, Samantha, that you have purpose. Why? Because you quit your job.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
And nobody does that.
Yeah.
You quit your job to run.
Yeah.
You put everything in. You just throwing everything into it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I respect that. And Community Cuts supports that as well.
Thank you.
And we need more of your voice in our community.
Thank you. I just want to say something real quick about that, Duke. I'm a woman of faith. I'm also a member, and I can shout out my church, Institutional International Ministries, 170 Adelphi Street. Legacy Church here in downtown Brooklyn has known, the likes of Donnie McClurkin to Hezekiah Walker, you name them. They've come through that church. And I started my journey of contemplating on running for office. But it really wasn't until my first lady had a retreat, and she, had it was flowing, and it's a Pentecostal type of flow. If you know, you know. And I asked the Lord. I said, if this is meant for me to do it, then I will do it. But I am scared as the bee's knees right now. And I got the answer that I needed, and a prophet has spoke over me. And he said, finish what you started. And I laid down, got back up. I got twisted up like a pretzel because I was, when they lay hands, you fall out. And I looked up to the sky and I said, Father, okay. And I had a sense of joy over me. It was just a radiance of, I got your back. And so I know the scripture says, if God be for you, who can be against you? Yes. And I am a woman that stands on, if I'm going to do this, I'm putting it all in. I'm going all in. And I had no backup plan. I have no backup plan, right? I'm going to be in the state database with the Department of Labor if I don't get this job, right? So it is all because I love my community so much. I could not take a chance to compromise any moment where I could not do what I said I was going to do. And to be there for each person who requires that attention is not something I could do part-time. And so thank you, Duke, for acknowledging and the support. And I've talked to many leaders and also transparently, I'm not getting the big dollars, right? I'm not getting the support from top brands or names. I'm doing community work. Like people from the barbershop are like, give me more flyers so I can give it to the constituents that are you serve. And let me rock your button on my apron. Right. Let me give you my last $4 so that I can be able to say I contribute. I was a part of change. And so it's not something I took lightly. It's not something that people had to coerce me. People called me and said, I highly recommend you not to do this. And I said, well, I guess I'll see you on the trail. No, I have to be bold to do this.
And that's what God wants. Yeah. This is how Community Cuts began. I had to pray, fast, and all of that. Lord, what, we all have a calling and a gift. And so when you tap into that gift, the God that's within you, not outside of you, but the God that's within you, that's when everything gets activated. Right. I did the same thing, CCC, Christian Cultural Center. And I had to tap in and say, Lord, I don't know what to do. I'm not technical with these, cameras and these computers and these mixers and all of that. But God says, well, you do it.
This is kingdom work.
It's kingdom work.
Yeah.
And so I applaud you.
Thank you.
And I thank my my guests, my co-hosts, my hosts, and it's God's work.
Yeah.
And so we're going to continue to put the green light on you.
Thank you.
And we're going to put a light on you. You need to be on camera. Because from a social media perspective, this looks a little crazy because there's no person to go with the voice. Okay? Thank you.
We're going to work on that.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to get a blue screen back here with his face on it.
A camera just right there on him, right? Because people...
This is...
A little picture with him on the...
Well, running live on the YouTube, it is possible, depending on whatever software you have, to have another camera angle. You have, over the last year, sir, become entirely too comfortable being off the camera and being the hovering angelic voice that happens. But we'll fix that. We don't have any sponsors, or there would be a commercial break. We're going to transition over to Mr. Rickie James, who has an upcoming trip to the Capitol. And just before you tell us all about it, let me be clear. If anybody tries to go out and meet my Rickie James, you're going to answer to me, right? Okay. So Rickie is traveling to DC, and that's with the Northeast Jurisdiction General Board of Church and Society. Is that
Yep,
correct?
That's correct.
So tell us what it's all about.
July 20th, July 22nd, I will be in Washington, in the Washington area, in a hotel in Maryland, in order to protest the Voting Rights Act decision of this country. They're trying to squash it. So we'll be there protesting. I won't be prancing around. I will just be around there holding a picket or a sign. So,
Right. So to be clear, you won't be like those people on January 6th.
yeah, well, there you
So
go. There
so
you go.
I want to, and this is social media, right? This is where a lot of people get their news, and we are talking about a nonviolent, peaceful advocacy.
Yep.
To say that you don't agree with what is happening, and we want to keep our right to vote, and we've come a very long way. And so if people are supportive of that movement that you all are doing, how can people contribute to the Church of Society? Is there
Well, again, the idea would be to contact Community Cuts.
Oh, to contact us.
Yes, and they will automatically contact me
Okay.
about anything that is on your mind.
All right.
About what it is that I am doing, or what it is that society will be doing for churches.
I like that. And so you guys, I am an Aries and I am a Black woman. So you got to come through me to get over there, right? Along with our founder, because we are a family, a new family. Like I joined the family, I want to say a year ago. I don't know how long ago, but Community Cuts BK has been going on for several years.
Yep.
And by next Friday, we're going to tell you what season and what episode we're up to. And there's some phenomenal people along with Samantha Johnson that have been here. I don't know if you all are aware here, but we've had Congressman Hakeem Jeffries on the show. We've had district leaders from the 43rd. We already talked about Alicia Boyd. Just a plethora of amazing people. And so you too could sit in a chair on a sofa, but do believe we're going to vet you, right? So you just can't send us a message and be Joe Blow or Jane Doe and come up in our circle. We're going to find out who you are and what your purpose is before you come. And we believe in freedom of speech as long as you got something nice to say. But is there anything else? Because we know it's Friday night and it's almost 9:00, Rickie. And we know Rickie has some ladies to get to.
Oh, my.
But before we do, we'll close out the show. Most important things besides the election that Samantha Johnson is running for Assembly 57 is to, number one, make sure you're registered to vote. Get your friends, your family, I don't care, take your dog, or maybe not take your dog because they're being so particular or specific, this administration, with trying to disqualify votes.
Yes.
I just want you to be ready. Do your early voting. Don't wait until June 23rd to go in. Get it in, get it out of the way. Be that person that can walk down the street with your button or your sticker. I voted. Did you vote? That is a cool thing to do, right? I am going to say that today there is the new Small Business Administration that has a lot of free services. I'm going to encourage you, if you're Black, brown, or a woman, you have a business registered in New York or within the United States, you need to get minority certification. It is available for men, women, and no matter how you identify, it is all inclusive. It is representative of who our borough, who our five boroughs. You know, sometimes when I'm thinking, I only am concerned with Brooklyn. And to be clear, Brooklyn is the best borough, no matter where you're standing, right? Even when I'm in Harlem, which I will be on Monday. But we love everybody.
Yes.
So vote.
Get out and vote.
Yeah, reach out and touch us. We can help connect you with Samantha. We can give you some free services. And then, of course, you can come see me. I have bills to pay, so I have paid services. But today's event today that I attended was really great. New York State ESD was there, talking about their minority certifications and things that they have available. So that's funding, credit repair. The IRS was there, very friendly. The representatives look like me. If you are a person who has merchandise and you're looking to export, there are programs available to help you get your products outside of New York, whether it's in the nation or internationally. I'm also a member of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce.
Nice.
Each borough has its own chamber that works independently. So there are, like you said, a plethora of services that are available to you. And we need to help support our local small businesses as well. They are disappearing. I just found out yesterday that the beautiful Black woman-owned Pepperbird on Flatbush Avenue has closed their door already.
What?
That's what I was told yesterday.
We just got Flatbush Farm taken away from us, and now Pepperbird is done.
Yeah, and not to mention Gino's Pizza, which was there like 40-something years. And it's, I found a legal term when you say it's my belief and understanding, right? So we start with that part of the reason they left is that their rent went from $10,000 a month to $25,000 a month.
Wow.
So
we need
people,
commercialized rent.
right. So people are
Stabilization.
strategically changing the demographic of our city, further pushing us Black and brown people out. I love luxury buildings, and be clear, I wasn't born in New York. I was born down south, grew up in Maryland. My mother worked many jobs and had a really, really good government job. So that my brother and I could live in the suburbs. When I was about 21, my mom met my stepfather, who is perfect. Call him dad, call my real dad, but being here, the quality of life right now is really hard. This is Memorial Weekend. This is the first Memorial Weekend since before the pandemic that I did not go home for the weekend, right? And let's not talk about airlines closing, right?
Yeah.
Those planes in the runway that Trump promised to buy or something in there.
Yeah, it's so many things going on. Someone called me
horrible.
yesterday. And I am still crying over the closure of Amarachi, Nigerian restaurant that was on the Manhattan Bridge.
Oh my goodness.
And what really pisses me off is that the space is still empty. The space is still empty with the branding on it. So why wouldn't you have let the small business stay there? And that is from me, Donnatella, to the owners of that luxury building, because I know who you are. I saw you every day, right? We have to support our small businesses. If we don't, no one will.
Yep.
Right? So with that note, it's 9:03. It's time to go. It's Friday. Anything else, Rickie?
Oh, I wish Samantha a good, successful campaign.
Thank you.
I hope that it is successful.
Thank you.
And I wish you the best of health and best of safety.
Thank you, Rickie. I appreciate that.
Oh, I never got any wishes of good health and safety.
Well, can I just transcend that?
You can.
I wish you the best of health, wealth, prosperity.
Thank you.
I
Thank
let the
you.
Lord just anoint you from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. Okay, I'm gonna
Oh
start
my
first.
goodness. Now that's good because you went to the Lord. I was gonna say, could you add 6 feet, a 6 foot tall, single,
You were like chocolate,
good
maybe in the
credit.
middle.
But at this point, he could almost be see through because
you said see-through?
he could almost
Not
be
a
see-through.
transparent man.
Well,
I mean, you want to be
my
transparent, but
right.
not literally.
Right.
Figuratively.
Well, my man now is transparent. You see, he's sitting right here.
Oh wow, he's a handsome young man.
Oh my gosh, this is
It's
so much
401k
fun.
and everything.
I know. Ooh, and I need him to have a 401k because of my DV situation. Mine's all wrong.
Listen. It's hard in these
One
streets.
more question. Donatella, where are you living?
Oh shit! No, he didn't.
I want to know. I want to make this public of what your situation. I don't
Oh my God.
I don't like your bubbly attitude.
Oh wow.
And not living somewhere that I can say that you are safe.
Oh fuck!
Oh,
I'm
wow.
crying. Oh, I'm gonna get you.
Come
Richie.
on now.
Oh,
This might turn to a whole
okay,
nother session. Come on now.
Okay. So, wow, Rickie, I'm gonna fight you.
Oh,
No, so
We got tissue on the set.
So Rickie is aware. So I've had this DV situation I've had. It's been 12 years. So it started in 2014. I've had 37 cases in 3 states. I was arrested twice. At one point, I had, at one point I had 12 felonies and 7 misdemeanors. Everything has been wiped from my record, right? Because I didn't do anything.
Right.
At one point, New York State, we're talking about the DA's office, representative from human trafficking, Safe Horizons. All these people said they could not help me because a lot of the services that were available, you had to be below a certain poverty line. And so this person started stalking me at my job, one of the largest law firms in the city, in 2014. I didn't lose my full-time employment until 2019 because my FMLA ran out. My lead attorney, paralegal, made a mistake in their office, which is how I ended up getting arrested. That person got a PFA in Pennsylvania. I legitimately probably have spent close to over $800,000 of my income liquidated between, short-term, long-term disability. I had 5 attorneys at one time in 5 states. There is if you are a person of color, and so I mean man, woman, or however you identify, we do not look like what we've been through. And each person finds a different way to cope. Yeah. And so as a fire sign and being an Aries, it was more difficult for me not to actually murder this person or allow other people to murder this person than it was for me to, I'm working in a big law firm. I also have family and friends that I don't want to jeopardize. So you internalize things. I've relocated 29 times. I had a friend when I lost my job who was doing business in Nigeria. So I went for 2 months to Nigeria. My grandmother passed on November 13th, and I got on a plane, went to Nigeria. I was there about 8 weeks. And ironically, on my flight over, I was sharing my story because I couldn't tell people here, right? I was sharing my story with the flight attendant who was so moved that she went to the cockpit and told the pilot. And as we flew into Nigeria, I've never shared any of this, by the way, publicly. But as we flew into Nigeria, they brought me into the cockpit and I sat behind the pilot. So I actually have that content that I haven't put on my Instagram. And, the pilot kind of joked and laughed. And he said, oh, my goodness, a French pilot. He said, I can't wait to call my wife and say I made a grown woman cry. Because, I was so moved. And what was interesting, because the flight had changed planes in Paris. And when I saw, Nigerians who were getting on the plane to go to Nigeria, it was kind of surreal to me in the airport. Because they had on, traditional clothing, their garb. And I was there looking like a typical African-American female. I had on sneakers and spandex tights, black, with a black sequins jacket and, a tight fitting shirt. And I'm looking at them and something about the way they walk, they literally looked like they were gliding, and they were more senior and they were talking to me and I was telling them everything on the plane. And I feel like if each individual had an opportunity to spend 24 hours in another human being's footsteps, we'd have more empathy. I'd never been to Nigeria before. And while I was there, I literally called some of my Nigerian friends and I said, I get it. I understand why, 15, 20 years ago, you told me you thought Black Americans were lazy, right? And it's not a matter of saying we're lazy, we don't do things. These people in 2019, still were working with dirt floors. People who had jobs were sleeping, in the job on a bed downstairs because it's too far to go back into, their native area. And as a silly American, one day I was in an Uber, and out of the peripheral of my eye, I saw "Bring Back Our Girls," and my silly adult backside said, "Michelle Obama." I said, that's Michelle. Michelle Obama was talking about "Bring Back Our Girls," and it hit me.
Right.
My girlfriend Sabangale is the person who took me to Nigeria, and she's Trinidadian. She almost slapped me, and she was like, "Donnatella, they're from here."
Traffic.
And then I got scared, and I said, "Wait, they stole them from here?" So I say all of that to say, because I think I'm still digressing. I currently am unhoused. I don't have housing. And I think I have maybe 3 to 5 people who know that. My own family doesn't know. But the most difficult thing for me is not so much, it's not the pride of wanting to say it. It's also the fear of the person who's stalking me didn't really get hurt at all, right? I had 2 order protections, one from family court, one from Supreme Court IDV. And it's ironic that you called me out because I've been praying on it. June 1st, I intended to start speaking about it on my platform. A lot of people don't understand why I'm always helping people. When you can't do for yourself, right? It's easier to help other people. Right. And this person sued me 37 times in 6 different municipalities, 6 different states. There were days when I had court in Manhattan and Brooklyn at the same time. And so I've learned the judicial system kind of inside and out. I've helped over 80 families facing housing insecurity directly in Kings County housing court. I recommend anyone who's in office, running for office, sit in housing court for a full day. Don't say anything, just watch. I think that the funding that is going to a lot of these attorneys,
right to counsel funding,
these attorneys needs to be performative. Besides just giving them the money, because I will tell you the amount of people that I help, the amount of seniors that I help, and I am 10 toes down going to tell you Riseboro, because I told you I was going to tell people. The free legal aid that I was assigned in 2025 did absolutely nothing for me. The luxury building that I live in, you can Google me, right? Or Google the building, and there's an interview I did with the news, and they took a sound bite, and it was on 1010 Wins. I said the building is like a fake Louis Vuitton bag. It's beautiful, shiny, pretty on the outside, terrible on the inside. Deputy District Attorney Shelton Jones is going to join our tenant association on a Tuesday. And for me, I guess, Rickie, I teased when I said I'm going to get you afterwards. I can't get anyone to help me because I don't look like I need help. That's number one. Yeah. Right now, I will say there is a council member in Queens who reached out to me 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was referred to her, and they said, hey, this person has a DV situation. She can't get any help. And, in the wintertime, the few people who do know were upset with me because it's 29 degrees outside. I need to go to HRA. I have a full mink coat. I wore my mink coat to HRA. I'm not going to freeze, because if I get sick, what's going to happen? I have 2 people and 1 client. Because I do minority certification, I've mastered it to like 14 hours. So I literally have clients that I'm allowing to pay me to come and sit for 14 hours straight, or however long it takes, because I don't have housing. You got to be, you have to be clever. I have a very close girlfriend that I am driving absolutely crazy, who's been allowing me to sleep on her couch.
Yeah.
I have a client who works out of state from Sunday to Thursday. So some days I go there. And why? Because when all of this was happening, 2014 to 2019, I had people from the DA's office and shelters telling me, you can't come into a shelter looking like you look. You're going to get robbed. You're going to get jumped. You're going to be fighting. And then simultaneously, I am helping women and senior men who are in shelters saying they're being assaulted. Security guards are propositioning them. Caseworkers are using their pending vouchers as a way to have sexual advancements.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
can I just say, I know that thank you for saying that.
Don't thank me. Thank
No.
Rickie.
Well, thank you, Rickie, for alley-ooping it. But thank you.
I've been holding this in for years. So don't.
I just want to say, as a sister, and I know this is probably whatever. Thank you for sharing your story. There's not enough individuals who are bold enough and brazen enough to go through what you've gone through and can still look like you do. Not because
the people's hair.
No, listen. You can put on all the makeup in the world, the lipstick, the wig, the hair, the nails, and you are masking things, and people are still needing you because you're standing in the middle of a traumatic storm, and yet you're still able to speak with the eloquence and the fighter spirit that you have. So, one, you are a testimony to someone else, but you're also a walking testimony for yourself. And so I just want to commend you, not because that is the typical thing to say, oh my God, I commend you because you're a victim, not that, but because you're able to be so out, like you're releasing so much, and you do need to be poured back in, right? And so I just want to be able to say thank you for sharing your story. It hit many levels for me, as also a survivor of domestic violence, as a person who walked into the Justice Center and was told by nonprofits, you make $5 more than you supposed to. You can't get no service. And I was in shambles. I decided not to pursue my court dates because one, my abuser manipulated me to get back in the bed, and I guess I shouldn't be saying that too. But he manipulated me and got intimate with me, and then convinced me that I was going to put him more at risk than myself in defending myself, because he had children, he had family, he had a tax record that he wanted to make sure he can get his tax returns. So I say all that to say, these conversations for Black women who are in pain but are putting on that lipstick and still going out that door and turning that key to whatever door they're opening, it is something we need to expose, because the city, the state, and the federal government puts a blind eye because we are not of the persuasion that looks like a savior type of complex. Right. And it's really essential for us to really be in safe spaces with each other and not judge, but also make sure that we are protecting us in conversations, that we use the right language, that we're talking about legislation or we're talking about accountability. There's no reason. There's no reason you should be in this space for the years you've been in and for the system to have done you wrong.
And I think the painful thing for me, when I hear people say, and I'm going to go back to, let's say, this really viral case with, let's say, Diddy, right? Or any of those big names. When I hear people say, oh, I don't believe her. Why did she wait 10, 15, 20 years? And so I'm going to tell you that typically what happens, the reason why you hear about situations like mine and others, when a person's in a 5th, 10th, 12th, 20th, 30th year, is because people try very hard to end their situation. And so if in 2014 I could look forward and know that in 2026 I would still be talking about this situation, I might have done some things differently. I stood in Haiti in 2014 where a client told me, as I turned down an $80,000 project standing in Haiti because I had to come back and go to court. And because I heard my apartment had been broken into, write the person's name down on a piece of paper. This doesn't make any sense. Write this person's name down, and he will disappear. He actually called a woman who was his older sister who had had a DV situation before, and the woman talked to me. She was older than me, older than I was in 2014, and she said to me all the things that the person had done to her. She wrote down the name of the individual, gave to her brother. This older gentleman, he's Haitian and Sicilian. This older brother, and that person disappeared. And so what I said to them at that time, I grew up in the church. I'm baptized. I believe in right and wrong. And I believe that when I die, there will be a situation where I have to count for all my sins, right? And I also believe that cowards shoot and kill people, because once you kill a person, they're not suffering anymore. The people who suffer are their family and friends, right? For me, even to this day, I want to see this person confined in a little box, or maybe get the death penalty. Because in this whole thing, in 2018, I found out that this person was doing this to at least 3 other women of color who were professionals. I actually testified for another person who's in Virginia, a Black engineer, who took the deal that was offered to her, quit her job, changed her name, and relocated. My personality won't allow for that, right? That is what I was offered. The director of human trafficking at the ADA's office said, we can give you a new name. We can give you a new credit file. You'll have perfect credit.
But it doesn't heal the pain.
And I'm not giving up my family.
And
right? And it's really like witness protection. And what's really bad is the 1 or 2, I tried to tell some of my friends that was happening, and all my girlfriends, beautiful, Caribbean, voluptuous. And right now I'm 170 pounds. I mostly weigh 125, 130. So I went from a 0.2 to, I think I'm like an 8 or so now, which is horrible for me. I can't fit my clothes. This dress belongs to my very best friend, who gave it to me to wear because I can't fit any of my clothes. And I literally called Duke today, and I said, well, Duke, I had to be all these other places. And what makes it difficult, I'm standing in rooms with really powerful people, right? And I'm not the kind of person that tries to leverage that spotlight or whatever, but I wanted to grow my relationships, do things to my business. And I said, after June 1st, I'm now going to go back to these people. And, I'm tired now. I've lost my grandmother, my aunts, my cousins, people I couldn't do things with. I just realized I have not been to Bermuda since one of my good friends gave birth to her child. Her child just turned 10. So
it's the one last thing. For you, how are you managing your mental health, and are you getting proper assistance with resources? I do want to offer, there's a program called Loveland Therapy. They give vouchers up to, I think, $120 to get 12 vouchers to get therapy from Black and brown folk. And then you'll just, whatever is the remaining balance, you would pay that. But it has benefited me. I have a Black therapist. I have a therapist that understands. And it's through trial and error, right? So if you're not already doing that, and even to the audience, and you're finding yourself without a sounding board because you are afraid of putting your family at risk and disclosing these things, and also putting your job at risk. My abuser came to my job.
Well,
and assaulted me, and everybody in the block was like, "Uh-oh, we about to go down." So it's about to get real. I would just recommend, if you don't, I'm happy to extend that resource to you, so you can get some support.
I will take that. So there's a funny joke that I say. I've been able to grow my online presence for a multitude of reasons. My personality, I haven't been able really to post consistently myself since 2023 when my biological father was diagnosed with colon cancer. I share my platform with a lot of individuals that I believe in. It's very hard, and I haven't had, I managed during the pandemic to use my brain to get myself into housing.
Mhm.
So I was without housing the first time from 2018 to December 2020. In 2020, I managed to get myself into a building, which I thought would be a safe haven for me to rebuild and grow. That luxury building is the one that I'm talking about. I've been there. I was there a total of 5 years, and it was a fight literally from the fourth month. That building literally gave away my 2015 BMW Z4. There are so many things that
that need a part two.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot.
Yeah, so it is, and the joke is, I grew up all my life because my mother worked really hard to provide. My parents separated when I was 8. My brother was 3. My mother did everything for us, right? And I've always had, as they say, good insurance, which is why my teeth look as good as they are. My brother had to have braces, not me. But
coming from a girl with Invisalign, I feel his pain.
and to your point, when I was going through all of this and still employed, when I had good insurance, I did go to therapy. I understand there's a difference from seeing a psychiatrist who gives you drugs. There's a therapist that you talk to. And what a lot of people don't know, in 2018, I had a friend who was in stage 4. She had stage 4 cancer. Wouldn't tell her family, but the amazing thing that brought us together, because we hadn't talked for a long time, during my housing instability, I work in tech. So I could stay at work. I was working 60, 80 hours a week. I would go and sleep in her hospital room to make sure that these people knew to turn her, do whatever. And I would be washing my wigs in her hospital room, and the nurses would be cracking up. And when her cancer got really, really elevated, she was in Sloan Kettering. And I couldn't believe how beautiful one of the buildings were. I mean, she had a 75-inch flat screen TV, floor to ceiling windows, and social media. I would tell social media, I go live sometimes and be like, oh, I don't have anywhere to stay today. Somebody WhatsApp me $150 so I can get a hotel room. And people would laugh. And I would say, oh, this hotel has to have a jacuzzi or a pool because for stress, because I developed high blood pressure from all the stress. And I used to have to drive from here to York, Pennsylvania, which is where that person was, which is a 5-hour drive.
Right.
So I get up at 3:30, drive there, go to court, and then try to drive back and go to work because I didn't want to miss time. And during that time when I was at the law firm, an attorney who didn't look like me had a Black woman stalker at the office. They posted her picture everywhere so that she could not get to this attorney. But when the person stalking me was doing bomb threats and sending pictures, at one point, the director of my HR department was on the floor under her desk crying. They did absolutely nothing to help me. But my birthday gift to myself this year in March was to come out, but then my first cousin passed on Super Bowl last year. And so, there's never a perfect time, but I've been praying this week, and I was saying June 1st, I'm now making the connections for these people. And to speak about the DV that you had, I'm going to say right now, I have a woman who is a DV victim. I want to shout out the district attorney's office because I know I just said, you all didn't do anything to help me. I called there recently for someone else. I spoke to Shelton. he connected me to the Action Network, and I was so impressed. There's a gentleman named Anthony in the Action Network. He spoke to my young lady who is predominantly non-English speaking. She is Haitian, speaks Haitian Creole. He's from Venezuela. He was able to speak in Creole to her. We left from there, went to Precinct 84. In Precinct 84, filed. Well, she's from East New York. Went to Precinct 84, filed the police paperwork. Me and my little bitty sense, she's a very, very sweet lady. We took an Uber there. They took the police report. They were very good, and I have to say, because of my experience, I knew what to say.
Navigate it, right?
And I like to put my followers out there sometimes when I need to say, hey, check it out, listen to me. But they escalated the criminal report to the 75th precinct, which is the precinct that she needs. The detective who's assigned, I'm not going to say his name on air, but he is absolutely awesome. I was able to get a warrant out for the person who is stalking her. And this human being is a vile man. And I recently, through this investigation, she was referred to me in December, right? I understand that he managed to talk her out of her first order of protection because he has this little job, and that little job pays for the house that they were living in, only to find out that this person talked her out of going through with the order of protection so he could quickly go and retire from the MTA at a supervisory level after 30 years. And so there's a lot to be said there.
Yeah.
It is 9:30.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
I think
Thank
we
you,
just need a breath,
Donnatella.
like a
Thank
deep
you.
breath
Thank
after
Yes.
this very.
You should have told me you were going to do
very
this. I wouldn't have worn this, what is this waist trainer? I can't breathe up here. But I think this is
bothering
good.
me, Donnatella. It's been bothering me.
Well, that
I
lets
don't
you
like
know
the
also,
suffering. I
Donatella,
don't
that
like that.
you have a team that cares about you.
Yeah, because I
loves
don't
you.
show up some Fridays because I can't handle it. And there are a lot of things broken in the system.
Yeah.
There are a lot of retaliatory measures at 475 Claremont. So
Building's
I am
going up, and you don't know
on.
what the building is for. It's going
Not
up.
475. I know somebody living there.
Yeah. That's the HRA office.
I know.
Yeah,
I know somebody that lives around the corner.
Yeah.
And so they see the line and all this stuff.
Yeah. But so this was a great live. We're definitely gonna have to dice that up. Not sure. I'm gonna promise myself to take that excerpt and put it where it needs to be. There was a point on my Instagram, because I monetize platforms as well, right? I am blessed that in 2023, I had almost 50,000 followers, but I lost about 33,000 when my father got sick, and then there's my family and all that stuff. And it's about consistency, right? So I worked very hard from the beginning of 2024 to build my platform back up and collaborated with people. I've had a couple videos on my page. One most successful is about 4.5 million views so far. I am at 59,000 followers. And I've been afraid to start speaking because I know a lot of people who will have no idea that I've gone through this. And when you ask about therapy, what I realize, I'm an experienced person. I am a person who's big on energy. And so when my world is not correct, I have to help someone else that helps me breathe. But I also go places that make me feel like where I should be. And so I'm just going to share this last thing and then we can close out. Yesterday was a very, very, very hard day for me because I had a bunch of people needing things from me, trying to put things together for the tenant association. And I was crying after I left. I went to Assemblymember Brian Cunningham's office. They were excellent in the services that they're helping us get. But in leaving there, I just got so many phone calls. I felt overwhelmed, not to mention I'm like out of money, right? And so I decided to go down Bedford. I have a friend who has a restaurant, Lamode BK. My friend Amanda has fed me, told me anytime I want, come to a restaurant and just eat. And I don't do that because I understand the cost to run a small business, but I do go there occasion. And I had a few dollars. I was going to go there yesterday, but I decided to go to this restaurant, the Senegalese restaurant on Bedford. It's Cafe Rue, and it's DIX. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a French restaurant. And when I walked in, there was only 2 people there. But can I tell you that I sat as a young girl working, her name is Marie, and I let her pick my food. And the food was so good that I literally cried. And I had a shank of lamb and Senegalese. We can go together. It's on the corner of Bedford and I don't know if that's St. John's, but the Senegalese couple owns half the block. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Out of shank of lamb, Senegalese jollof rice. And what really, I had made a joke with her when I came in. She said, "What can I get you?" And I said, because I'm single and I'm also abstinent. This is making me a horrible person.
We are besties now. I'm just
girl. I'm trying to get off that island.
Oh well.
But the funny thing is, they have this beautiful traditional gold teapot that has I think it was gunpowder, green tea with mint. And so it was so hot. And she taught me how to do the long pour into this beautiful glass. And when I held the glass was so warm, it felt like a single man giving me a hug. And that's what I told her. But the food was delicious. And when the chef came out, like I cried talking to this young girl. And I told her, you have no idea what people are going through. And the young girl was like, "Oh, please don't leave a tip." When I was like, "This is the last money I have on the earth, but God will give it back to me." And I was like, "No, I have to give you a tip because you're working." But the chef came out and she was speaking in French and the young girl translated. And when she told the chef what I said about the food bringing me to tears and how I was so excited to be in that space, she asked if she could hug me. So beautiful Black and Brown owned Senegalese restaurant. They've been there for several years. I am late to the party. I think I was there years ago. So we're gonna stop. It's 9:36. Right. Rickie, I have to come give you a hug.
Yes.
Is it for free?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool.
Thank you, Rickie.
Good girlfriend.
That's a lot. Okay.
I know you had that all hidden in your jowls, the drawers,
the jowls,
in your jowls. You were stressing out and every day stressing in. So I don't like you bubbly and holding back. So there's no good for that. It's no good in your heart for it. No room for that.
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
That's
a lot. And I know secretly Duke is in his head like, yes, this is good. Okay. Go community cuts. Go community cuts.
Good content, right?
Thank you, Duke.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
Yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all. It's
just wanted to say,
yes, please.
I'm going to do a plug for you all. So make sure if you're watching online, like, click, subscribe, share with everyone. If this commentary invoked something out of you, make sure that you subscribe and click the notification button so you can get all what this amazing team is doing. That's my small plug outside of all of the other things I do. This was an amazing conversation. Thank you all for this. Thank you so much.
And we want to take some of those resources, and I need you to get our dear friend Duke into some technical classes.
I mean, I'll shout out Brick Media Arts. They have free classes and they do it at Atlantic Terminal. Thank you. Atlantic Terminal has their free technology classes. They also do podcast training. You can do it on your phone.
And they have studios, and that's where I met the Haitian anchor from CBS at Brick. Oh, I'm so mad I can't. And this is Haitian Heritage Month. It was just Haitian Flag Day.
Haitian Mother's Day.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, is it? When is that?
I think it was last Sunday.
Oh, I got to call. Golden Blue. I am sorry, Rose. I have to call you and say happy Mother's Day to you. So this is great. You better turn it off before we start doing something else, dude.
We segue so well.
I know. Cut it out.
All right. Good night.